Let's go. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now live. We're a little bit late, but you know what? It's interesting. The more that I do this podcast, the more it really feels like sometimes being on a film set because you have technical difficulties on film sets, but
Right.
we've worked it out,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I am happy to announce that I am here with the one and only Nakia Dillard, veteran actor, television, film, and theater. And I've had the privilege of calling this brother a friend for a number of years. I've learned quite a bit from him. And before we get started, Mr. Allen, and before we get started, I'm going to tell you guys a little story. And Nakia probably doesn't even remember this. And then I'm going to introduce him. If you search for me on any social media platform, all you have to do is search Floyd Marshall Jr. And years ago, I don't know how we got on this subject, but one of the things that Nakia told me was you want people to be able to find you. So use your name. Because I had all of these, Star Child 5570. And, when you're talking about casting directors or whoever looking for you, they're not going to do all of that. So the easiest thing for you to do is to use your name in everything. And I took that to heart. So when you Google me or you Google Nakia, everything's going to pop up because everything that I do is under my name. So that's the acting tip for the day before we get into it. But again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a conversation with Floyd Marshall Jr. I'm your humble host, and I am joined by the amazing, the incomparable veteran television, film, and theater actor Nakia Dillard. And just let me tell you a little bit about this brother. He's such a good brother. Just a good dude all around. And it truly is an honor and a privilege to call him my friend. But let's give you a little bit of his bio. As a child, his love of arts introduced him to a whole new world of colors, animation, and imagination. Being extremely talented in this field of artistry, Nakia anticipated this as a life career and profession. However, that was before he enrolled and attended his alma mater, the prestigious Freedom Theater in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There he met the renowned acting coach Ricardo Martin, who introduced him to the Rainbow Company, where he further pursued his acting abilities and progressed to performing at the distinguished Hedgegrove and the Wilma Theater. Now, this brother has worked alongside some of the most recognizable talent and influential names in the industry. And I'm going to give you a couple of them. At the top of that list is Bill Duke, and I got another story about Bill Duke, but we'll get to that later. He has appeared in frequent character in the critically acclaimed TV series as Luscious in the Wonder Years, or is that Lucius? Because I'm reading it as Luscious.
Yeah, it's Lucius.
Okay, Lucius,
I mean,
Luscious, Lucius.
they may say I'm luscious up in on the
I
show. You
read
know
it.
what
I
I'm
said,
saying?
I'm like Luscious. I don't know, but Lucius in the Wonder Years on HBC and Hulu.com, and he also landed a role in season 2 on Black Mafia Family on Stars, Black Lightning as Terrence Long
Long.
on Netflix,
Mhm.
and a recurring role on The Wire. And if you've never seen The Wire, I suggest you go and watch it because that is one of the most groundbreaking shows to have ever hit a television screen. Now, he has also appeared in projects with Gerard Butler, Jamie Foxx, Anthony Mackie, Wendell Pierce, Kerry Washington, and other notable performers and more. And a side note,
Right. Right.
this brother did 2 of my films,
That's
A
right.
Child of God and Compromised.
Yes, I
So
did.
we got some history. So,
That's
Nakia,
right.
welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, man.
It's a pleasure. I can't believe that it took me 2 years to have you on my show. We're both in Philadelphia,
Right.
but the reason for that being is when I initially created this podcast, it was because I wasn't hearing the voices of Black women in this space.
Mm.
So the podcast was initially geared solely toward uh, our sisters in this business because I'm like, I'm not hearing their voice. Well, damn it, create a podcast and give them a voice.
There you go.
But sitting down talking with my manager, we were like, well, we need to expand this because there are so many phenomenal people that I want to talk to. So
Mm,
now I'm just including all the black actors, black writers, black directors, cinematographers,
yeah.
everybody that I can get a hold of, I'm including them. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. How did you get your start in this business?
Oh man. Well, I started at Freedom Theater. It's a school here in Philly at Broad and Master, and at the time, it was just the place to be. You know, everybody went to Freedom Theater. I even saw Denzel Washington. He stopped through once, and Bill Cosby. He came through a few times, and it was just a great place for actors in the city to just hone their craft. And I was blessed to be able to be a part of that. But that's I started at age 14, and I did a lot of theater. Um, Ricardo Martin was my acting coach at the time. He passed away. But if it wasn't for that brother right there, man, I really don't know where I would be today. Because when we couldn't afford to continue to go to acting class as a teenager, he would always call me and put me in different shows. So that's how I got into the Rainbow Company. That was a creation of his. It was a theater troupe that he created, and we would have the kids from each school write the shows that we did.
Hmm.
So it was an amazing time, man, and it just kept me. He basically lit the fire in me, and I've been
Okay.
literally working ever since. From theater to film to everything, man. I just been constantly moving.
That's beautiful. Now, and it's interesting because I was listening to a couple of other interviews that you did, and
Mm.
it's amazing what you learn about people. You were not the most talkative person.
Not at all. So if somebody would have tapped me on my shoulder when I was younger, I was extremely shy, man. Like I hated to be called on. I hated like standing up in front of the class. You get that instant burn, you sweating, and all that. So the fact that I'm an actor right now is just it just goes to show you never know what's in someone. You never know where they're gonna go. So I always tell people, like even as kids, a lot of times people will say, "Oh, well, my kid is outgoing, so I think they'll be great in acting." But you never know. You just never know. But I at least say, just offer, just let them try it out, see if it's something that they would like to do, and if even if right now they're not going forward or whatever, but it'll help them with their self-esteem. It'll help them with their literacy. There's so much stuff that the arts do for kids. So even and adults too. So it's for everybody, honestly. So yeah, man, I was the quietest kid in the class, man.
So you're the shy guy. You don't talk, and it's interesting because when you said that, and fast forward to today,
Hmm.
I think back on every time that we've been in each other's presence, and I was like, you know what? Now that I think about it, Nakia doesn't say anything unless he has something to actually say.
Yeah, I listen a lot. You know,
So
I do
so
listen.
how so how did you overcome that shyness because you're shy and then you're thrust into a profession where you're standing because you started in Freedom Theater. So you go
Right.
from head down in the back of the class, please don't call on me, to now
Hmm.
you're in front of an entire audience performing. How did you make that transition?
It was a lot of work, a lot of work on myself too. You know, because a lot of times with shyness and it's a self-esteem thing. It's a voice that you hear in your mind that constantly tell you that you're not good enough, that you can't do this, you can't do that. So over the years, I had to work on that voice. Just turning that voice off, tuning it down. It's still there. I got to fight it, but it's I know how to go. I know how to move forward with it. You know, so but again, it was a lot of training. Freedom helped me out a lot. Um, and then the constant repetition of doing shows and I'm gonna tell you, like, like a few times when I was younger, like the very first time I did an actual play, I just fell in love. It was just like a place where I could just escape. You know, I could escape for a few hours and not be myself. And it's kind of like it's honestly like a high. It's like you're always chasing that in a way. And it's nothing like hearing the words, you're booked, you got the job. you know, it's amazing, man. And it's like I constantly chase that, just that energy where I can just escape. Um, but it's all positive though. I get a chance to hold a mirror up to people
Mhm.
that's actually really walking in those shoes.
Right.
I could put the shoes on for a little while and take them off and go back to me. But holding a mirror up to somebody, and just like our film, when we did the film, um, was it, no, not
A
Compromise,
child of God.
Child of God,
Mhm.
and just the amount of responses that was under the post of how it helped somebody, it changed their life. It made them think differently, made them go apologize, or even the person that I played, the people that may have never saw themselves in that way,
Mhm.
and now they're creating relationships with their families now. But that's the beauty of art,
Yes.
and that's one of the reasons why I love this craft, man. I just love that.
Yeah, that was one of the most fulfilling things that I'd ever had the privilege of being a part of when I started reading all the comments on YouTube
Uh-huh.
surrounding the film, and you and Karen's absolutely amazing performances, and kids telling me, "Well, hey, I was going to," and this is no lie, folks. Kids were like, "Look, I was going to end my life, but then I watched this film, and I was like, look, I'm good, and I'm gonna
Wow.
stick around." And we had people at the screening. This one gentleman I remember came up to me. He said, "I haven't talked to my daughter in 3 years. I got to go home and I got to call her." He said,
See
"Because I
that?
can't." I say, and that is the beauty of art. So when you're
Hmm.
thinking that you don't have anything to offer, you just never know.
Just never know, man. Never knew. Never, like, just with you coming up with that idea and putting it to paper, and how it just changed people. It just changed people,
Yeah.
and that's a blessing, man. But and you never know. You
No.
come with this, you get this whim of an idea, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put it down. And even at the time, I think, you were saying how different film festivals and different people just weren't ready for it. But now look at today.
Yeah.
People ready now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I got
So
rejected from. I'm sorry. Please.
no, I'm just saying, like, everything is in its time.
Yeah.
And it was people that was needing that piece of art just to go on with their life, you know. And yeah, man. So everything happens in its time. But
Yes.
but I love work like that, like where it can actually just hold a mirror up to somebody and actually change them, you know. And who knows where that family is now? Like, him reaching out to his daughter that he hasn't spoken to in 3 years because of that.
Mhm.
Just understanding it's still a person, still a person.
Yeah. And then you flip and you do compromise something entirely different.
Right.
And then and let's talk about
That was
that.
fun. That
That
was
that
fun
was
right
that
there.
was fun because you got to
Yeah.
act alongside another phenomenal actor who also played in The Wire, Brian Anthony Wilson. But let's
Yeah.
talk about being able as an actor to transition between those types of characters. Because in the one film you play a pastor, and then in
Right.
another film you play a ruthless gangster.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and then and other things that I've seen you in, Bill Duke's film. Oh gosh, was
Cover,
it Cover? Cover,
cover.
yes.
Uh-huh.
Um, and Night Catches Us, and then The Wire. So,
Hmm.
y- how are you able to transition between those roles? What is your preparation process like?
Well, each one, like, I do a character biography on them, to try to see who they are and how and who and where are they in me, and how can I bring it out. So a lot of times, I read the script multiple times, and I get a different piece of that person every time. So then I just put them all together, and and just make sure I believe it, you know. So that's the thing, just making sure it's a complete person, because each of these characters, they they have a purpose, they have a reason why they got up that morning, and you as the actor got to figure that out.
So you said something very interesting. You said you read the script
Hmm.
multiple times. And oftentimes I find that when you read it multiple times, you learn something new each and every time. So
Yeah.
is that something that you teach? Because you also have an acting school, I Can Act. Is that
Right.
something that you teach your students how to do as well?
Right. Yeah. And I have a team too. I'm gonna shout out my team because a lot of times I'm running around, but I just make sure my team is holding it down. So but yeah, but those things are what we teach. Yeah. So and I've been able to bless really to be able to hire one of my teachers that taught me.
Hmm.
So she's actually teaching at my school right now, Miss Lenny Daniels. I don't know if you ever met Lenny Daniels, but
I
she's
don't think I've
amazing.
met her before.
Oh man, you have to meet her, man. But I have Nicole Tucker. She's teaching, and Nicole worked in your play. I mean, your film.
No,
Um.
Nicole was in my play.
Okay. Okay.
Nicole was in my. I mean, this ain't really about me. It's about you. Talk about me later. But yeah, she wasn't. But that's awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. But see, ladies and gentlemen, what you're hearing right now, um, for lack of a better word, is relationships.
Right. Hmm.
That's basically what you hear when we're talking about different people. We're talking about people we've developed close relationships with over the
Right.
years. Now let's talk about that because you've developed some pretty phenomenal relationships with different people that have
Hmm.
helped you along the way. So talk about the importance of building good relationships in this business.
Oh man, it's everything. Um. Because when you get on set, you being nice to people and being a team player is number one. Um, because just because you're working on this film right now, don't mean that that's all they're doing. From the PA to the casting director to the first AD, everybody, the hair and makeup. Um, just recently on the set, um, I met this hair and makeup uh, lady, and she was amazing. And just out of conversation, she was like, "Oh, let me show you something." It was another guy that I acted with like years ago, and she was like, he just told me, I told him I was on set with you, and he was like, "Oh, let me send a message to him." It's been years since I saw this cat,
Wow.
but that's what if I was a jerk on set? Easily, you just don't know how far these things go. So what I tell people is, just get on set and say hi to everybody. Just be nice. Because you never know. And some people, they get on set and they have a big head because they think because they got this job that they're better than. I'm gonna tell y'all, it's not about the talent. is all about your energy. A lot of times you get the job because of your energy. They want to know if they can work with you for several weeks or even a day. If they can work with you for one day,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
It's a
So
marriage. I've interviewed so
it's
many
definitely a
people
marriage.
that
Yeah,
said that it's a marriage.
definitely a marriage. And then you're working with so many different people, with so many moving parts on a set, and it's fast paced. You know, if you get on a TV show, they ain't got time to be, worrying about you and your situation. You get on set, you make it happen. They don't need to know what you're going through.
Can you deliver? Can you deliver?
Exactly.
We casting you
Are
for
you
a reason, but
okay
can you
enough to
deliver?
deliver your lines?
Right. So if you got an issue, go back in your trailer, work that out, and then get your ass back out here and let's get this thing popping. Because time is money.
Time is money, man.
Time is
Yeah.
money. And we're all adults, and no one has time to babysit an adult. But
Hmm.
let's talk about the plethora of films that you've done, because you've done some pretty good films. I've seen quite a few of them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's
Mm.
not because I like you, and I do like you, but you're very talented. I mean, you are
Thank you.
you're a very talented actor,
Thank you so
and
much.
you've been in some really good stuff. So
Yeah, it's been a
you
blessing,
go,
man. Truly.
yes, it has. So you
Hmm.
go from Freedom Theater, and then how did you segue into film?
Actually, I did a lot of theater, and I wanted to get into film. Um, it's a woman named Victoria Bostic Smith, which is a good friend. You know Kamal Bostic Smith?
No, I don't. You know
Oh
what? I
man.
may, I
Yeah,
may, I may know him by
yeah,
face when I
I
see
think you
him.
met Kamal, but basically his mother got me my first film job.
Wow.
So she became my manager, and got me started in film, and I did my first TV show through them. Yeah, man. But it was a hard lesson though. I'm gonna tell y'all this. Because I did a lot of theater and I didn't know the film aspect of bringing it down. I was coming there strong with my diaphragm. You know what I'm saying? I was speaking those blowing out speakers. The boom man, like, where the hell we get this guy from?
Hmm.
But I had to learn, and every day, y'all, like I'm a student. Every day I learn something new. I study. So I've been through some stuff, man. you know, but but every day, like when I get on set, when I'm working with someone, or I learn. I learn from kids. I learn from everybody on set. You know, like I would say, never just turn off that. Like, don't think just because your resume is thick, don't mean that you can't learn anything new.
Well, you know what? On that note, you did a film where you were the dialect coach from this dude. Some people may know him. This guy is Idris Elba. I don't know if everybody know him, but
Wait, who?
Nick, you know
It's like,
that
no, I'm
Idris
like,
Elba dude that used to be in The Wire.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that guy. Small time actor. But
Yeah,
you were his dialect coach because you did a film in Philadelphia. It was
right.
Concrete Cowboy, correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
That one I did not see yet, but Concrete
Okay.
Cowboy. So you talk about learning. Tell
Hmm.
us about the process that you had to go through with him to get him prepared for that role.
So with Idris, first off, Idris is an amazing dude. And he's fast. Like, he picks up very fast. So we would go over the lines just a few times, and he had it. I remember one time we were on set, and I had headphones on, so I could hear, like, if he said something that was made him sound like he was British. I would go over to him and say it a few times to him, and he would just catch on. But his energy and his professionalism. Um, he was great to work with, you know. So with me, I just basically had to we would go over the lines. We would say the different ways of saying it. We would go through the lines a few times, and that was basically it. You know, it was fun. It was something new. You know, even just working with Idris. I mean, we worked together. We were attached to the same film, but I never worked with him on set.
Mhm.
You know, with us being on the wire. Um, sorry, I was getting a text. But it's crazy how like when you do TV, you know everybody's attached, but you don't see them
Mhm.
unless you ever seen with them. You know, so when I saw him, I said, "Yeah, you know, I was on the wire too." He's like, "Oh man, for real?" He's like, "Oh man." So then we just connected, and the director, Ricky Staub, he was a big fan of the wire, so that connection and the relationship helped get me that job. You
Mm.
know, so you never know how things are lining itself up for you to do your thing. You know.
Back to that word relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it was basically a relationship. But I have one question about when you were working with Idris. Did you
Uh-huh.
have to tell him how to say the word John? Or did that ever come up?
uh, now he actually didn't say John.
Okay.
I think the other characters had to say John. The thing with Idris, you know, because he's from England, his
Mhm.
R's, you know, so horse, saying horse, stuff like that was issue at times. But like I said, man, he was once he got it, like I'm telling you, he was. I couldn't even. One time I was on there, I didn't even know it was him talking.
Mm.
That's how clear. That's how Philly he was. I thought it was somebody else saying his lines.
Mhm.
I had to go around the corner and see him doing it. I was like, okay, man.
Okay. Okay. But you know what? That's the power of when you're on set, you're doing your job and you're learning.
Hmm.
And I like that you said that, because oftentimes, especially indie actors, when they get on set, they got their head down, they're on the phone, they're doing other things as opposed to looking at what everybody else is doing, because that's one of the best schools you could ever be in,
So true.
is a
So
film
true.
set.
So true. Yep. Hmm.
So
And each one is
let's
different. Each
a-
one is
a-
different.
yes.
From the indie film to the TV show to the movie to the all of that. Something new to learn every time. Every time I walk away with something new.
And how long have you been doing this?
Wow, I think it's been little over 30 years.
Wow. And you're
Yeah,
still
man.
walking away with something new.
Every day, every time. From an indie film to a TV show, the Wonder Years, BMF, I learned something different from both of those shows. Um, the energy, um, yeah, every day. From the kids on the show, like watching EJ Williams play Dean on the show, his energy. Um, who else on it? My daughter on the show. Uh, all of them kids is crazy, man. They all good. You know, just amazing people.
That's beautiful. And I want to go back to one of my favorite shows of all time, The Wire, because I'm curious,
Hmm.
how did you get an audition for that show? Because I was acting at the time,
Hmm.
and I had a manager, and man, I'm not even going to tell you how many times she sent a headshot of me over there, but it never worked out. But as you say, if your name ain't on it, your name ain't on it. But how did you get
Yeah,
that audition? How did you go about what
doing that.
how did that
Well,
happen? How did that occur?
like really, I mean, I had an agent at the time. She just retired. Here in Philly, it was a agent. Her name was Gail Williams, and she retired. She was amazing, and I got the audition. I actually auditioned several times for The Wire, man. I auditioned for everybody. I auditioned for Marlowe, Slim Charles, a gang of them.
Mm,
And this one particular day, I want to say I auditioned for maybe 6 or 7 times before I landed Sergeant Lambert. And I was just about to leave. I did my audition, and Pat Moran was like, "Oh wait, before you go, I want you to read this cop." And I was like, "All right, cool." It was a cold, literally cold. Like the other ones, I had the lines already.
Mhm.
This was a cold read. So I went in and knocked it out. And literally on the way back home from Baltimore, I got a call saying that I booked it. But I was literally back and forth in that office, man. You know, it ain't like now when you got the virtual auditions. It was right in your face. So if you said you could be there, you had to be there.
Right.
You know. So that was the other part. Um, you know what? Give me a second. I gotta find a charger. This phone this phone try
Uh-oh.
to this
Uh-oh.
phone try to check out on me.
Go find a charger, and I'm gonna sit here, and I got some guests on, so well,
Okay,
I'll
all
keep
right.
them occupied while you find the charger because I got a lot more stuff I need to ask you, brother.
All right, cool. Give me a hot second. Hold on a second. Let's see how I do this. All right, let's see. Can I do that? All right. I'll be right back.
Well, no problem at all. So while Mr. Dillard is going to find a charger, now this has never happened on my show, so now I have to actually fill in the interview space with some witty conversation. So, what happened with Bill Duke? Nakia was actually in a film, and we're going to talk about this when he comes back. Keon, I couldn't get on The Wire to save my life either, brother. So don't feel bad. The Wire, and I also could not get on. Oh my goodness, what is it? The show with Mariska Hargitay. What is the name of that show? It escapes me right now. Law and Order. I don't know how many times that my manager submitted me for Law and Order, but I couldn't get on that show. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, he's back, so I didn't have to fill in. I didn't have to fill up too much of the time. But Keon's on the feed, and he was saying that
Oh, hey.
he couldn't get on the Wire either. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're
Oh
amongst
man.
royalty. We're amongst royalty because Nakia is the only one on the feed that can get on the Wire.
Oh man. Yeah,
But
that was a blessing, man. Because like literally when I came through, I thought it was just for one day. And when I
right,
got on, it was recurring.
wow,
So I was excited, man, because that first time, man, I had to join. I was a must join.
hmm
So SAG, I had to pay to get in, you know. So I literally had to be a paid up member before I stepped foot on the Wire set. And at that time, man, yo, man, I ain't have it at all.
hmm
So yeah, man, it was tough, but I got it done, you know. And that's one thing you gotta. If this is something you want to do, you're always being challenged, you know. Even right now with my phone, trying to figure out, I ain't gonna let that happen.
right. You got to move back
You
to that
know,
sweet
so you gotta
spot. You
keep
got to move
on.
back to that sweet spot, Nakia, because you got to kind of move back to that sweet spot because you're there. You go, because you had the sweet
Oh,
spot.
okay, all right,
You had the
all right,
sweet spot
cool,
earlier.
okay,
So it looks like
all
we're being
right.
joined
The
by a
cord
lot
ain't
of
that long.
the okay, no problem. But it seems like we're being joined by a lot of the Philly crowd. Louis Duvall has just joined us. Welcome
Hey, what's up,
to the
Lou?
live, Louis, good brother. Glad to have you here.
Yeah,
So I know a lot of people that are going to be listening to this podcast later. Like, who is he talking to? This is live on three different platforms, and we have some of our Philadelphia family joining and supporting this phenomenal brother Nakia. But I want to talk about The Wire again because you said something about the fact that you had to audition numerous times. So let's talk about what actors always have to deal with, which is hearing the you did not book the role and how that affects an actor and how you internalize that and move through that to actually go back again and
and do it
again
again.
and again.
Yeah. See, a lot of times, like with acting, You don't even hear the word no. You see the word no. Um, you don't get a call, and then you just see the episode come on. You be like, oh dang, that's what I auditioned for. You know. So I've literally, man, like actually all of my roles, it never was just like I auditioned one time and just had the role. Um, I auditioned several times for Wonder Years. I auditioned several times for Black Lightning. I even auditioned for Black Lightning's dad. Now I knew I wasn't gonna get it. I knew I wasn't gonna get that role, but I still went in. I went in and knocked and rocked it out, you know. But again, I had so many auditions, man. Even today, you know, I audition maybe 6, sometimes 4 or 5 times a week, man. I may get one call, you know, get a call back. Um, but yeah, it's a grind. So for people that, you know, think that any of this was given to me, it wasn't at all. You know, I worked for everything. I mean, you know, when you build relationships, you know, like for example, like, you know, working with you, like we had a relationship already together. So, you know, it was just like, oh, I got this piece and I think you'll be great for it. And then we just worked and got it done. You know, so but again, that's all about building relationships. And we knew each other for literally like before you started directing, you know, we would go into auditions together. We would both be at Mike Lemon's, you know, getting ready to audition and you know. So yeah, so you build relationships even in the audition rooms. You know, unfortunately we don't have that now because everything is virtual, but it was a good time. You know, it was a really good time to you see everybody, you know, you might see Chris, might see Brian in the room
Yes,
and you
yes,
know, so it was always a good time, you know.
absolutely. So you ventured out into kind of behind the camera with I
Mhm.
Can Acts. So what made
Yeah.
you decide to start your own acting school?
Well, at the time, Freedom Theater was closing down. I was literally sending everybody to Freedom Theater, and I started a children's entertainment company where I would do like birthday parties and stuff like that. So a lot of people knew that I was an actor, so they would always ask like, "How can I get my kid in this?" and how can I get into it? So I didn't really have anywhere to send them, so I just kind of created a place where they could cultivate their skill, you know. So that's kind of where it came from. It wasn't something that I said, oh, you know, when I book this amount of roles, I'm going to start a school. It wasn't any of that. It was more of like a need, and I just wanted to basically supply, you know, because even the different shows, you even asked me for actors, you know, for like as background or
Mhm.
and it, you know, a lot of times, especially in Philly, because Philly's not an industry town, so it's kind of like you got to know people, you know. And it was just a great thing that I was able to help people get onto stuff because I knew a lot of people. And a
Right.
lot of people, and then another part is a lot of people don't train, you know, they just do a TikTok video and they just like, I'm a star now.
I
You
got
know what I'm saying? I don't need
5,000
no school.
views. Right.
Yeah, I don't need no school. So, you know, just trying to get people to understand that it's still a craft. You know, you still gotta learn. Like I read books all the time. I'm on videos all the time. You know, just watching the students. I'm learning from them. You know, so yeah, it's a you're always learning. You know, you never get to a space where if Denzel Washington still has a coach, well, who are you? You know what I'm saying?
Denzel has a
So
coach. Holly Berry still has a coach.
Kerry Washington,
He-
man, the list goes forever. But some people get it in their mind that oh, I'm because a few people clapped a few times and now they just think that they over Denzel.
right. People that are not willing to learn scare me.
Me
and
too.
I steer clear of them
Yep.
because if you are of the mindset that there's nothing that anyone can teach you, there's a problem. That's a teachable moment right there. The fact that you don't think anyone can teach you anything.
Hmm.
Because as you
Hmm.
said, the fact that you're learning from children, because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, that I tell people all the time. You have someone who's been a veteran actor for 30 years. I've been doing this for close to 18. But there's
Hmm.
something that you know that I don't. There's
Hmm.
something that you know that Nakia does not know. Regardless of how long you've been doing this, there's something that you possess that we do not. And
Hmm.
that's the beauty of learning. And you said something in another interview, and it's amazing what you learn about people when you start to research because I've kind of gotten a little insight into how you take now. And some of the conversations that we've had, things kind of fall in place.
Right.
You read things other than books on acting.
Hmm.
And a couple of the books that you mentioned, I've read. So talk about that because I am huge in personal development. Because, in my opinion, if you're going to be an actor, you need to be a well rounded person.
Right.
So
Yeah.
talk
Like,
about that.
I read books on financial literacy. I even wrote a book on financial literacy for actors. Um, because that part is never talked about. Um, it's so many people say, "Oh, I can't do this because of whatever circumstance they're going through." But if you knew how to, um, you know, move around that, who knows where you would be today? You know, and finance is everything. You got to pay for acting class. You got to pay. You got to pay for everything. Headshots. Even when you do films for film freeway, you got to pay for that. You got to pay. You got to pay for everything. So you just have to understand how to um, where to put money. It's different apps that can help you out. Like I've used different ones like Acorns and Digit, different ones that kind of like round your money up, and then you can use it or put it in somewhere else. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of different things, but just reading acting all day, you have to expand. So I listen to Les Brown every day, motivational speech. You know, just what else? Yeah, I listen to a lot of business books. I do listen to a lot of that. I'm listening. I've read this book several times. It's called "Secret of the Millionaire Mind" by T.
Mhm.
Harv Eker.
I didn't read that
Um,
one yet.
that's a good one, man. Definitely a good one. Earlier today, I'm listening to Rich Dad Poor Dad. I've
Okay.
listened to several of those books. Um, but yeah, I just constantly my Audible stay on. Like while I'm driving, I listen
Mhm.
to so much stuff. The Tipping Point I'm listening to right now too. Um, Malcolm Gladwell. He did Outliers.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, man. So I stay listening to something. You gotta keep
Yeah,
your mind on.
yeah, and that's so important because when I talk to actors, especially the young ones coming into the business, that operative word that I just said, ladies and gentlemen, business. So many of the actors, filmmakers, whatever, they look at it from the standpoint of creation, which
Hmm.
is fine, but you created a product. So now you got to go sell it. And even you
Right.
as the actor, you're the product.
Right.
So when you go to your school, you're basically honing these people so they can present the best product when they go into an audition.
Right. Hmm. Yep. And the other part, like with my school, most of well, all of my teachers are all working in the industry, and then I bring different people in to talk to them so that they can hear different stories, and I also work with a young lady. Her name is Angela White, and I have a lot of my students go to her class to hear her story, hear the people that she brings on story. So it's not just about, it's community. You know, it's a community that builds us all up, and it's not just about me. Um, you know, I'm one part of it. You know, because I found it, I can ask, but I bring up so many people, and I try to help even my teachers. I put them in different films. Like Nicole and I, we just did a film called uh, Uncle Rufus' Last Request, and that has Omar Gooding in it. And I had a few of my students where they had a chance to meet him.
Mhm.
You know, so you know, you never know where this stuff may how this can inspire like a person that may have never saw themselves on on TV or in a film, or that could just be their only dream. You know, I just want to be in a film. And
Yeah,
just
and
through the
that's
school, I was able to help them do that. And even with you, even knowing you, like
mhm.
helping, you know, when you're doing projects and you may call me and say, hey, you know, we need, you know, a young lady to play this or whatever. And I send you the pictures and you choose who you want and they go to work.
And that's a beautiful thing. And the young lady that you just mentioned, Angela White, phenomenal. And I met Angela White. This is so crazy. You know what? This is crazy. I met Angela White at the Peachtree Film Festival.
Matter of fact, we met her the same time.
That's
That's where I
see
met
how
her
to
at too.
see and because what was there? Was it compromised?
Yeah, we had our film Compromise in it. And I want we all came up early, and it was a couple workshops that was going on, and Angela was speaking at one of the workshops.
The producers workshop. I was in that workshop.
Right. So that's how like this was when she did the film A Question of Faith.
Yes.
So she had her film in the what is it? Yeah, it was there because that's when I saw it. Um but yeah, that's how it all started, relationships, you
Yeah.
know. I met her and we just kept in touch, and she started her school Backstage Pass, and you know, and it was years after. So I've known her
Yeah.
years. Well, we both known her years
We met her at the
before.
same time.
Yeah, we met her the same time, same fest because of Compromise.
Yep.
Yep,
See that?
yep.
See that? See that? Now that is a okay. I made a film. Nakia was in the film. The film goes to the film festival, and we meet one of the most influential Black women in this space,
Hmm, hmm.
all because someone decided I'm going to not be that shy kid and I'm going to be an actor. And then someone else said, you know what? I was at Bill Duke's boot camp, and he says, if you want to be in the film, then damn it, make one.
Mm.
And because of that, that happened at the ABFF. When I first got in this business, I went to the ABFF and I took Bill Duke's acting class. And Bill Duke said, if you want to be in the film, make one. And I came home and told my wife, I'm starting a film company.
Wow. And
And then
see,
my first,
just those words changed your whole life.
the whole trajectory of, you talk about the gentleman that mentored you at Freedom Theater.
Ricardo Martin, yeah.
Yes,
Hmm,
for me, and he doesn't even know it was Bill Duke, it was Jeff Friday, because
hmm,
I listened to Bill Duke say, if you want to be in the film, make one. And then going to the ABFF, I said, see, I want that too. So
hmm.
so when I started my award show, I patterned it after the American Black Film Festival.
Look at that, man. Look at that. That inspiration, man.
Yeah.
You know, and even with that, like I was able to work with Bill Duke, you know,
Mhm.
twice. One on
Wow.
cover and then on Black Lightning.
Wow.
Man, I tell you, man, it's just it's all God, man, for real. You know, it's just always like I say, all of this is a blessing, you know. Um and just even right now, we don't know who's all on this call that we may be inspiring. who might be the next you or the next me, the
Right.
next Bill Duke, the next Jeff Friday, the next Angela White, you know, but we have to continue to inspire. We got to continue to share.
You're absolutely right. And that's what it's all about. So you have multiple things going on. You have your acting school, because we're about to wrap this up, because I know you're a busy
Um,
man. You have your acting school. You
mhm.
just started a film production company. I
Yep.
mean, you do casting. You're an agent in some ways.
Yep.
So what's your plate is full. So what's next? What's next for you?
Well, I just started. Oh my God. Damn it. Damn it.
Uh-oh. I think we lost him. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when he comes back, he's going to tell us what he has going on next. But while we're waiting for Nakia to come back, I just want to double down on the point that we were just talking about, which is if there is something on your heart that you want to create, then be pleased by all means create it, because you absolutely never know what that creation will do for you, and more importantly, what it will do for others. So I have absolutely no idea what happened to my guest, but his phone is frozen. So we're going to see if we can get him back. Oh, okay, he left out, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm just going to wait for him to come back, and then we can actually wrap this up. This is what sometimes happens on a film set, that you may have some technical difficulties. So we'll give him a couple of minutes. I'm texting him right now to see if he can come back in. Okay, well, I don't know if he can make it back. Okay, I am going to take that as a sign. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed the last 51 minutes of this podcast, because it was absolutely amazing. It was enlightening. And Nakia is just such a phenomenal person. I really wanted him to let us know what he has going on besides Aiken Acts. But as I was saying, he also just started a film production company. And if you can check his online acting school out, it's I Can Acts. That's AIKAN Acts. That is actually his name spelled backwards. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for joining us on a conversation with Floyd Marshall Jr. I am so sorry we lost our guest, but this will not be the last time that you see Nakia Dillard. And with that, as I always say, love this like a hobby and treat it like a business. And on that note, everyone have an absolutely amazing and outstanding rest of your week. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.